Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Powell. I appreciate you coming and addressing our body. In 2011, Vice Chairman Yellen made a statement about the concern about the long-term debt situation and the imbalance that we have with our budget. In the fourth quarter, when she made the statement, the federal debt held by the public was, as a percentage of GDP, was 64.75%. Now, the same debt to GDP as identified by CBO was 99% at the end of 24. Do you express the same concern that Ms. Yellen had about the severity of where we are with our continued long-term imbalance?
I have done so on many occasions. And essentially that the U.S., we're on an unsustainable path. And the debt level isn't unsustainable, but the path is sustainable, and certainly it's past time for Congress to work on that. But that's what I can say. I can't say more than that.
What do you think the benchmark would be? And we're in the middle of the budget situation now, trying to debate, particularly with reconciliation. What would you say is a benchmark that would ease? What level of cuts, in your opinion, would ease your concern over what we're doing? We're $37 trillion now, but when you add the the mandatory spending we have on Social Security, as examples, going bankrupt in 35, Highway Trust Fund running an imbalance. What level do you think will give you, I guess, some assurance that we're going to get our house in order?
So I don't have a specific number, it wouldn't be appropriate, but I will say this, in having looked at this, you know, the successful programs to get back on the right track, they tend to make progress over a long period of time. And in other words, you've got to get to a place where the economy is growing faster than the debt, and then you need to stay on that path for 20 years. This is not the kind of thing where we can fix it overnight. We just need to be making progress. And you know, right now, we're running very large deficits at a time of full employment. So we need to start moving. You're either making progress or you're not. Right now, we're not. So the key thing is to just, you know, is for it to become a big issue, and then people work together. The things that need to be done are things that can only be done on a bipartisan basis. Only. These are the things that need to be dealt with, cannot be dealt with by one political party. I'll leave you with that.
It's going to be a tall order.
It is.
To get bipartisan.
The order only grows. It gets taller every year.
Yeah, it does. That's one of our issues we're having now. The level of growth, you think, with what President Trump is doing with giving Americans confidence with the Dose Commission, which is giving Americans hope that we're seeing things that are being spent of the taxpayers' dollars that we never imagined that we couldn't get to. Now he's exposing that. What level of growth do you think, with the confidence growing under Trump, that we will be able to reach this year and the years after? Because the 20 years you're talking about, we've got to have a pretty solid, it can't be, it's got to be, would you say, 1.8, 2% growth of GDP?
You know, for a long time, people thought that U.S. potential growth was a little bit below 2%. I think we've had we've had 5 years of good productivity growth, and we hope that'll continue. If that does continue, then it might be 2 or 2.25. If you're talking about long-term budget assumptions, though, I'd be conservative and say 2%.
You think that's doable?
2%, yes.
On another note, the stress tests that banks run and that public has been given information on everything but how that stress test relates to them. Why is it not further, why is it, most people don't understand what it is, why is it not broadcast more, in your opinion?
Why the stress tests?
Correct.
So the theory from the beginning was not to disclose the whole models and the way that they worked, because in a way that felt like giving the test in advance. This was a brand new initiative that started coming out of the global financial crisis, very successful generally, but over time the argument for not giving away the models, giving the models out has, I think, weakened. And also the law has moved. The Supreme Court has moved to reduce the level of deference given to agencies and increased our obligations to be transparent under the Administrative Procedure Act. And so it's time, we think,
Gentleman's
for
time
us
has
to disclose
expired.
the models.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.